Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to show you how to restore your headlight properly. So first I'm just going to really quickly run over why you would need to, some common myths, some common solutions that people suggest that maybe aren't the best, and then how I go about doing it. But of course this is all my own opinion, so feel free to make your own mind up. So I'll take you in closer in a bit, but this is my Volvo, that's replaced the Mercedes, I know. But the headlight on this side is really cloudy. It's got a bit of staining inside as well, which you can't do much about unfortunately, but we can do something about the outside. So it reduces light output, it looks ugly. I've already polished the other side, it came out really nice. The reason I didn't do them both together is I was going to scrapyard and I thought I might be able to find a headlight. I got there and this headlight on the one Volvo in there was smashed. So why do we need to polish headlights? Why do they deteriorate? Why do they go hazy? You know, what's the crack? So basically, when you have plastic headlights like this, that are common on a lot of newer cars as opposed to glass headlights, what happens is they have a protective UV protective layer on top to stop it yellowing and stop it deteriorating. Over time, eventually, I mean this is a 05 reg car, so it's 15 years old, that fails and then the plastic becomes, it almost has a dead layer to it. All we need to do is take off that top dead layer, it's like dead skin. Take off that top layer, a nice fresh surface underneath and then just protect it again. That's basically all you're doing. Taking off that failed coating that's now turned hazy itself and then putting and refreshing it, bringing it back up to a nice clear finish and then putting like another protectant on so it doesn't go again, because otherwise you can have the same problem in a week. At least this way, if you put some protectant on afterwards, it might be, you know, you might get 6 months to a year out of it depending. So it's better than having to do it all the time, and you don't want to be doing it too much. Eventually you'll finally eat away through it. So a lot of people say, oh, we'll just rub some toothpaste on it. Correct, in a sense. Toothpaste does have polishes, abrasives in it, but they're all different random sizes. It's nowhere near the precision of something that you would use in automotive use. They're not of uniform size, it's all over the place. So yeah, you could do that, but you're probably going to be wasting a lot of toothpaste, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money. You know, I mean, it'll work in a pinch if your MOT's tomorrow and it's 10 o'clock the night before and your headlights are really bad, you know, like they can get, then yeah, it might do. You can also get these wipe-on products, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, maybe you guys can help me out with this, but I think basically they just fill in the gaps, so it's all sort of one layer, and then at least it looks a bit better. So you won't get rid of as much of the yellowing, but it'll be a lot clearer optically. But again, I could be wrong on that, and maybe that's something I need to look into instead of doing all this. But so the way I do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet sand the headlight, starting from a low grit up to a high grit. I'll go through it again in a bit. That'll basically get the majority of the dead coating off. It'll bring back a lot of clarity. It'll remove this, as you're going up in the grades of the sandpaper, it'll remove a lot of the marks that you're reducing with the lower grade sandpapers. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some form of polish, cutting compound, headlight restoring paste, anything like that, and you buff it back up so it takes out the sanding marks, and to an extent, depending on how high you grade you go, and then leaves a nice clean finish. And then I'm going to wipe it down, protect it. So what am I using? So I've got here a sanding block because this is a really flat surface, so I'll be able to it'll make it a lot easier for me. Can't do it by hand, I've done it by hand before. If you have a surface that isn't that flat, you're going to want to do it by hand. You're not going to get everything with this and you're going to put uneven pressure on it. I've got some sandpaper over there, so first I'm going to go 1000, I've got some 1200 lying around somewhere, I'm going to go to that. Then I'm going to go 1500 and then I'm going to go 2000. And you can go higher, some people go to like 3000, 4000. For me, I know I can just get the majority of that out with a polish, so it's you know, how far you want to go with it and what your further processes are that dictate how high you take that. I've got a bucket you can see just in the shot here, just my wheel bucket filled full of soapy water. I've just used some car shampoo in there just for some lubrication, so you want to keep the sandpaper wet, you want to keep the headlight wet, and also you just want to wipe it down first and after the sanding as well. For when I'm doing the sanding and the polishing, I've got some masking tape. Any masking tape, this just happens to be detailer's tape, but I mean you can go to B&Q and get loads of masking tape. I just had this lying around just to mask off the surrounding paintwork. I don't want to wet sand that, I don't want to polish all that. So yeah, mask it off, protect it. got a dual action polisher here, so I've just put a small backing plate on it. I think it's a 3" or 3.5, and then I've got a small, I think it's 3.5 or 4". I don't know. It's a small polishing pad just to get into there. If you've got huge headlights and you van headlights, put a big pad on there. You're going to save yourself some time. This is just to do your compounding or polishing afterwards, and take out the marks induced by the sandpaper. So again, you can go really in depth with this. You could do a rough compound, and then you could polish them with a refining polish, but I'm not going to do that because the other ones come up absolutely fine with just compound. Talking of compound, I'm using Meguiar's M105. It's basically that if you get their ultimate compound, it's basically the same. This is just a professional branded sort of style. I don't think there's any actual difference in it. Could be wrong on that again. Could be wrong on a lot of things, usually are. But basically, this is a compound, so it'll take out sanding marks, but also it finishes down pretty well. It's not a diminishing abrasive. It's just the polished particles, the abrasives in it stay at the same size, but they do finish down really well, so I'm not going to question it. But yeah, I'm just going to use probably the last of that actually. Some panel wipe, or you can use IPA or degreaser, anything just to get the polishing oils out of there, because you want your protectant to stick to the surface, not to the polishing oils, because they'll come out and it'll take the protectant off with it. Same goes with any coating you're doing really. You want it to stick to unless you've got a specific primer sort of polish, then you want it to be on a naked surface as such. And then your protectant of choice. So I'm just using Finish Cara FK1000P. You get this huge tub for like 20 quid. I did back when I bought it about 5 years ago, and I've done full cars with it, I've done headlights with it, I've lent it out to mates and they've done their cars with it. I've still got absolutely loads of it left. It's really spreadable, it's very solventy, it's very aggressive, but it's high temp as well, so you can use it in exhaust, you can use it on alloys as well. Headlights obviously they do get warm with having bulbs behind it, so I thought it's perfect for on there. Gives real good beading and it lasts for super long, so just and it's cheap and I've got loads of it. So it's absolutely perfect for what I need it for. So I've also, this isn't a necessary step, but as well as with all your cloths and towels and wiping implements that you have, cloths, I'm just got the airline, so I can blow out all the water left around it, so when I mask it up it just sticks a bit better and it's dry for polishing. But it's not essential, it just helps me do it quicker, and that's good because I'm lazy. And of course we've got the essential, we've got the girt. So I'm going to set you guys up super close, pull the tripod down, try and get a good angle on this. I'll work from this side so I'm not interfering it too much. You can see what's going on. I'm going to set up my little ring light so you've got a bit better lighting on it, 'cause it's 2 o'clock and it's dark. So because it's the UK, obviously it started raining. I've pulled the garage door down as much as I can, pulled the car up to it. I've put the bonnet up as well, so we're kind of sheltered here, so not too bad. I'm just going to tape up the area and then we'll get to wet sanding. Alright, so now it's masked up. I'm not going to damage any surrounding paintwork. So all I'm going to do is going to wet sand it. So I'm going to take the sanding block, I'm going to attach a bit of sanding paper to it. Oh, this water's really cold. Ah! I'm going to attach some sandpaper to this block, and I'm just going to, first of all, I'm just going to start with the 1000 grit. I'm just going to go this way across the whole headlight. I'll have to use my hands for little bits in there, a little bit just to get in there. And then I'm going to switch out to the 1200. I'm going to do it up and down, so that should take out the markings from the 1000 grit. Then I'm going to do 1500 that way, finish off with 2000 that way. I'll probably just go with 2000 that way again, just to make sure that I've got it all. When you first start sanding with the 1000 grit, you'll see loads of yellow residue coming off, and it is gross, and it's basically, that's all the dead coating coming off, so that's good, that's what you want to see. You don't have to press too hard on this, try and just keep even pressure everywhere across the headlight. Don't focus on one tiny bit. You'll know once you've sort of dried it off after this stage and had a look if you need to do more, and if so, just go focus on that area a bit more, but still do the surrounding area just so it's all fairly even. But I'll show you that. We'll just get sanded. Alright, surface is nice and lubed. Start at the top. You don't have to. And work your way down. I'm not pressing particularly hard. You can see all the yellow gunk coming off. Don't know if you'll be able to see it too well on camera, but you can definitely see it here. Just keep your surface and your sandpaper nice and wet, keep dunking it back in the bucket. Rinse and repeat. At this stage I'm just going to rinse it off with the hose pipe, see what it looks like. So as I said, this one at the minute obviously still looks cloudy. It's going to look uniformly cloudy now, you'd hope, once you've sanded it all. I'm probably going to go over this again. I'll dry it off quickly, then you can see what it fully looks like. As I said, this one does have staining inside, which is a real shame, but the other one, the other one's come up really nice and clear. But you just got to remember that staining that you can see is inside, and not to sort of chase it and get carried away with it. But I'll dry this off with the compressor, see what it looks like, and then we can get on to either giving it another quick hit or moving up stage of sandpaper. That took me all of 2-3 minutes. Not sure how well you guys can see this on camera, but it's got a pretty uniform haze to it. You can see as well where in certain areas it's decayed more than others, and when you've sort of sanded it, there's more like a lip, like a step. So I can see that just on this edge here. And it's all uniform up here. There's just a tiny bit in this corner because obviously it was a bit awkward to get into. So I'll go over those bits, wipe it off again, and then just move on to 1200. Again, this time I'll be going up and down. So it's really awkward doing it up and down, so I'm just going to do it by hand. Just hover over it and do it. Probably I'll find the sandpaper the right way. And all I'm doing is making sure I'm covering the areas again that I've hit already, so the whole headlight, but just making sure that I'm doing it uniformly, so spending the same amount of time and pressure on each part of the headlight. So I'll just do the flat face of it and then I'll come up and do the top separately because it's awkward. All you're doing on these latter stages, after the first stage, your first stage is the most important because that's when you're removing all the dead coating. After that, all you're doing is taking out the sanding marks from the previous stages, so you don't need to be as meticulous or aggressive. You still want to do a good job, but it's the first stage that's crucial. Once you get that right, all you've got to do is just take out the sanding marks from the previous stage. Rinse and repeat. There's loads of marks inside this one, it's really annoying. It's going to cut really clear and you're going to see all those. But the only way you can do it is get some neodymium magnets with like a bit of polish. You can wrap a bit of felt around it or something with some polish and insert it through the headlight hole and try and use the magnet to manipulate it and clean it up a bit. Or buy new headlights. I'm waiting for a good set to come up at the breakers or something. I need a few bits from breakers anyway. Like I say, that one's fine, just this one, but it'll look a hell of a lot better anyway, and it'll make my headlights a lot brighter, which is the main aim of this, because the minute I can see that one, the beam pattern and the brightness of it, even just with standard headlight bulbs, just halogens is great, and this one's So I'm going to put some LED bulbs in at some point as well. It's got a little shroud there so you won't see the end of them, and I'm going to make sure I get ones that are shaped for reflector headlights, because I hate it. There's nothing worse than people having HID kits or xenons or LED bulbs. Just see the very end of the bulb and it blinds you, the beam patterns all over the place. I don't want that. Don't like that. So I'm going to make sure I can get some that suit this. So I've also got some rally inspired bits coming, so stay tuned to see more of that. It's interesting. You'll probably hate it, but something I wanted to do on my last Volvo, but it was too clean, whereas this I can kind of have a bit of fun with because it's a bit battered and didn't pay too much for it. So yeah, that's to come. But for now, let's get on with the 2000 grit. Do it up top, and then like I say, I'll just quickly do it that way as well, just to make sure I've got everything covered. So let's do that, and then I've spent about 10 minutes at this point, if that. Not including masking, that's the longest bit, but proper preparation prevents poor performance. Alright, wet sanded done. They've come up already, you know, they're a lot clearer. There's a bit of like a uniform dull haze, but they're not as yellow as they were before or anything, so it's quite satisfying. As you get on with the later stages as well, it's quite smooth with the sandpaper, it don't take as long. Each following stage takes less and less time, so I'm just going to take all this old tape off, this old wet tape, rinse this off, dry it in the surrounding areas, remask up, and then we're ready for polish. Alright, so you can see now, especially under the light, the ring light, it's got just a uniform haze to it. Any staining you see is inside, which is mega annoying, but it's got uniform haze to it. There's still a bit of water on there, I'll blow it off a bit more. I'll mask it back up, and then we're just going to polish it. Alright, so for this next bit we're going to be polishing it. I'm going to use my machine polisher. You can do it by hand, but it's just going to take ages. So if you have one, or if you have access to one, use it. But again, you can do it by hand, so it's not necessary. You're just going to have to have a lot of elbow grease, but I don't have the stamina or patience for that, so I'm just going to use my machine. So I'm just going to prime the pad and spread some polish out over it. Spread it out, and then I'm going to flick it up to like a medium to high speed, maybe like 4.5, 5-ish. Just work it in evenly until the polish is done. There's plenty of other videos out there on machine polishing, but it's the same principle as machine polishing paint. Wipe it off and we'll see what we've got. Obviously we're in less than ideal conditions here. You know, it's getting dark, it's raining, it's England, it's Friday and I haven't won the Euro Millions, but we'll persevere and we'll get it done, and I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll show you it's probably tomorrow in the daytime as well how much clearer they are. If that's assuming it's any brighter tomorrow. But yeah, let's get this polished. So this is looking 10 times clearer. The only thing that's really annoying is the stains on the inside. You can really see now. So normally what I do is I do another pass with a cutting compound, but you're really not going to get it much clearer because of this on this one, because of the stains inside, like I say. So until I can either sort them or I get another headlight that's cloudy just on the outside, then I'm going to leave this as is. I'm just going to wipe it down, put some protection on it, but be worth noting, just examine your work here, see how clear it is. If it's still got a little bit of haze to it, which you will be able to tell, especially after you've fully wiped it down and just double checked you've got it all off, you know, all the residue. Just give it another pass with a cutting compound. And then sometimes you can get marks from that being too aggressive, so then you want to move on to a polishing pad and polish solution, some polish. So yeah, see what works for you. It's all down to what's working in that individual circumstance. But for this, for the amount of effort that I've put into it, the returns from here on in is going to be sort of negligible. For, you know, it's diminishing returns from here on in. So it's a lot clearer anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some isopropyl alcohol on this microfiber, wipe the surface down so all the polishing oils are off, and then I'm going to put some high temp paste wax on it. So let's get this off. Oh, so you just look. Oh, that was beautiful. Got some panel wipes, some IPA, some whatever you want to call it. Wipe the surface down, get the polishing oils off. Make sure you get in around the edges as well, because you can have it trapped in the edges from where you've gone with your pad. Doesn't really matter if you go into the paintwork with this, unless you've got super duper protection on here, but then again it should probably resist a bit of panel wipe, so just a quick splash. So got my protectant here, my FK1000. You see, I've made a bit of a dent in it, that's about it. So use whatever applicator you like. I really like this for them. Yeah, it sucks with a bit of products, but again, I've got so much of it that it doesn't really matter. But they're really good, they're soft, and you can spread it out real easy. You can dab it out and then just do. So from now on, just follow the instructions on your protection. So I'm going to wait until this goes to a haze and is good to buff off. Might take a while because it's cold. I might try and put some heat on that, and then I'll buff it off, and then it's protected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'm going to come back to you guys tomorrow in the morning. I'll show you how clear it is, and I'll also show you the other one as well, so you can see what sort of results you can really achieve when you don't have a stained lens and you put more than one pass into it. So catch you guys tomorrow in the morning. Alright, so it's the next day here. It's actually come out a lot brighter. Today would have been a really good day to do this, obviously. But I guess if I had planned to do it today, it would have been raining, and yesterday it would have been really nice. You just can't win, can you? In a sec, I'll just take you in, show you how the headlights come out. I'll show you how the other one came out, because it's, like I say, it looks a lot better. This one's got a lot of staining on the inside. And then that'll pretty much be the video. To round it up, actually, I've just got to put a new fog light in that side. I think you can just get it from underneath, so I'm just going to jack the car up, give myself a bit of room and wiggle under it and take it out. And then on these Volvos, they've got, like, on the rear lights on the outside, you can see it from the side, they've got little position lamps, and they're just like a little bulb, a little blister bulb, and they've gone on mine, I think. It's the same bulb failure parking light, and all of them seem to be fine. I seem to remember on my old Volvo I had them and they'd gone as well, so got 2 of them last night, just changed them out, and then we'll see if that works. Get rid of a warning anyway. And then we're good, so let's crack on. Alright, so this is how the headlights come out. Like I say, it's still a bit cloudy, there's loads of staining on the inside. Can you see? If I focus that there, you can see all these, it's like something's weeped down. So all of that discoloration that you see is on the inside, which is a nightmare. It's quite bad like round here as well. But the actual headlight itself has come out a lot better. It's a lot clearer in general. You know, the light output's a lot better and looks a lot better as well. So if I just show you the other one, look how clear that's come out with no staining on the inside. It's absolutely unreal. So that's come out really nice. If I find some breakers at some point, I'll probably end up replacing that one. I'm not paying like 250 quid for a new headlight because it's not really worth it on this. But yeah, so at some point we'll be upgrading the lights in these. I've done a really poor job with yellow in these. The fog lights are really knackered and there's loads of condensation inside of them. So I just put yellow over them to make them look slightly better. It looks a bit rally-ish, and I had some yellow tint lying around, so I thought, I don't know, something to do. I'm really terrible at applying any sort of wrap or tint, especially eBay tint when it's really like really stiff, really hard to move. But there we are. That's the fog light that needs changing actually. So the handbrake on this is terrible, so I've left it in gear as well. I'm just going to put a chock under the rear wheels, should I say, and jack it up on this side, and then just crawl under and try and replace that bulb. Ah. There just isn't a fog light bulb in here. Okay, good. You might be wondering why I'm wearing glasses, but not too long ago I paid a lot of money to get my eyes lasered. I don't want anything falling in them and damaging them. I'm a lot more conscious about it now. Wait, I should probably test it. Okay, doesn't work. Excellent. Why doesn't it work? It's never simple. Right, okay, so I thought, why ain't it working? Well, there was loads of random lecky tape around here, and yeah, it's kind of just bodged on. So that's good. I'm hoping the wiring up in here is good. I'm just gonna have to strip this back and resolder it. So yeah, great. Thanks. Just what I want to be doing. Don't know how well this is gonna come across on here, but so someone had just twisted this enclosure together, which doesn't even look like the original enclosure, but because I think the other side's a bit different, but it went in there and latched. So I mean, I'm kind of hoping that once I wire it up properly, it'll get in there and latch. Well, that didn't work. Fog lights still don't work. Well, just that side. So we've got one functioning, so whatever, it'll be alright, I guess. So I'll go try those ones in the boot. Probably not going to be able to film that, but I'll show you where they are. So you can see the rear lights are on now. There's usually like a little bulb that goes in either here or here. Illuminates as like a side marker sort of thing. A lot of Volvos have them either whether they're amber or white, and I think it's this one because that's the only other bulb that seems to be out apart from the fog light. But they ain't giving me a fog light warning, so I mean, we don't care about that. So I'm just going to go in the boot, and I won't be able to film it, like I say, it's real awkward, but I'll see if I can get this working. So I'll give you the result in 3, 2, 1. So there was a bulb out. So there you go, you can see it, side marker, looks kind of cool I guess, but we've still got a warning, parking light, so don't really know what's going on with that at this point, don't really care. The bulb cost me £2 for both. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, that's the Volvo. I don't think I'm going to be doing too much more to this. I've got, like I say, some surprise rally inspired bits coming for it. All I've done so far is I went to Breakers and got a full leather interior. Dark as hell in here again, thanks UK. But I got a full leather interior because it had some dusty old fabric seats and they were knackered. So full leather interior. Did get, these are heated but mine weren't. But I did swap out the head unit and there's just blanks where the heated seats are. So I just need to get it enabled. I also got the cruise control thing on here. Mine didn't have it, which is annoying. You can get it enabled, but so far people are quoting me like £300 to go into the Vida, which is like the VAGCOM of the Volvo world, and enable that and that. So it's like, I don't really want to pay £300 for that at all. I think I need a new battery as well. It's really sluggish to start, and it dies after like a couple of days. Even when I've like deep charged it and stuff on I've got a smart charger. So I don't really want to pay for a battery either, but I mean, it does start really slow, so I'm gonna get stranded one day, so I need to do it. I just don't really want to, but I'll have to fork out. Maybe after Christmas if it can last that long, eh? Right, so that is it. That is a wrap. Main focus of the video was the headlight polishing. Hope you found it useful. Hope you you can go now and restore your headlights, save you some money, save yourself some hassle at MOT fail. Don't have to replace your headlights. So if you did find it interesting, give me a thumbs up. And like and subscribe please guys, it really helps me out. You know, we've gained like 30 odd subscribers in the last 28 days and my views on my last video were really good. Hoping this can go in the same sort of trend upwards, get some likes, get some, you know, some view time and stuff on it. And yeah, there'll be more videos coming soon. So I've got some videos on some trim restoration, I've got some videos on some machine polishing. Again, might be in the warmer months. I'm gonna get some interesting cars on the channel to drive as well for you guys. Just some interesting stuff, so a bit of variety, a bit of everything for everyone. Something for everyone, that's alright saying. Cool, alright, cheers, hit subscribe, give me a like, see you guys later.